Hey there, I'm here to show you how to finish your Shortest Day Shawl. This is my Shortest Day Shawl using this year's advent calendar from Explorer Knits. It took me just about an hour to cut it, unravel, steam, and then tie the fringe, and I'm really pleased with it. So stick around and I will show you through my very poor video skills how to finish this shawl. I hope you enjoy. Please don't judge me too harshly because, again, I am not a videographer. I am but a humble knitter who can barely take a good photo. So bear with me, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Okay, let's get started. Hey there, today I'm going to show you how to steek the Shortest Day Shawl. This is going to be a single take, so I hope that it goes according to plan, as I can only cut this shawl once, so my fingers are crossed. So I have it arranged that the back half of the tube is up and out of the way, at least for the first part. I'll have to move it again after I start cutting. Looking here, there's a part where I cast on 10 stitches, did the body stitches, and then cast on 10. So there's a split here between the 10th and 11th stitch. This is where I'm going to be cutting. As you can see, there's minor holes here, because this is where I attach the yarn to throughout the whole shawl. We're going to cut this. All of these ends are going to be blended into the fringe after we cut, so I'm not worried about cutting those either. So we've got the cast on edge, and this hole here, and I'm just going to start cutting right between the stitches. And you just carefully cut right up this line. So as you can see, I've been cutting right here through this stitch, and you just do that all the way to the top. Okay, I'll come back when I'm done. Okay, the hardest part is over. Now we have 10 stitches and that twisted stitch. So we're going to find the end and just start unraveling these rows. This is going to take a little bit to get going. Just be patient. And we've got to be careful with this first cast on or bind off row, because it's going to want to unravel further than those 10 stitches. So we're going to just carefully unravel it till 10 and leave it alone. But all of the other rows will only unravel to the 10th stitch, because that's why we put a twisted stitch there. So give me a second. Like I said, this first one is going to be a pain to get it going, but after that it's much easier. Okay, so it took me a little bit, but I got through the rest of that first row. This cast on row we're going to leave for a second. We'll come back to it. But now we just start grabbing individual strands and pulling, and they're only going to unravel to this twisted stitch, which is part of the magic. So you can grab 1 or 2 or 3 at a time and just start unraveling them. And they're going to look all scrunched up because they have that stitch memory from all that knitting that we've been doing. So we're just going to keep unraveling these ends on both sides of the short sides of the rectangle that we have cut. And that's your instant fringe, which is pretty magical. After I unravel all of these, I'm going to come back and I'm going to take my steamer and magically straighten them out, and then I'm going to start tying them into tassels. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, so now I'm going to steam these ends so that they lose the stitch memory and become just normal ends. I do this with a steamer. To be fair, I usually do this in my bathroom, just over the shower, but for the purposes of this video, I wanted the background to kind of stay the same. And I do this with all the ends. You can also just wet block these if you want to just mist them or dip them in some water. But we want them to be nice and straight when we're working with them to tie them into tassels. And also when we're going to trim these ends. Because see, this one down here is really long. And that is from my original end that I didn't weave in. So once I have these all straight, I will trim these ends so that they're all the same length. And presto magic, they'll all be done. Okay, so I'll be back when I'm done. Okay, so all the fringe is now straight, and you can see where we had these ends that we weren't going to weave in. All we're going to do is trim them so that they're about the same as the rest of our fringe. You can be really scientific about this or not. I like to just go with approximate. Oops, this one's long. There you go. Presto magic. No ends. So there you go. Just keep doing it all the way. Okay, so now everything's straight, everything's laid out. I have my cast on edge, which I still have to undo because I saved this for last because I'm always a little bit concerned that it's going to go further than that twisted stitch, because in our cast on we did not have a twisted stitch here. So we just have to be cognizant when we're working it. So I'm going to unpick this, and when I'm done, I'm going to take these by group, by color group, and tie them off as tassels. You could leave them just as fringe if you wanted to, but I'm just a little paranoid that eventually the twisted stitch will come undone, so I'm going to tie them as tassels. I'll be right back as soon as I get this cast on edge unpicked. Okay, so we're almost done. So I'm going to take these by groups. See, I've got my whole last purple stripe here, and I just loop it around and tie it in a knot. Voila. So then I'm going to take this next purple stripe, grab these guys, loop them around. Helps if you twist them a little bit. So twist it, grab them through. It's much harder when you're doing it on camera. I am not a video person. This is not my preferred medium. I can hardly take a picture. So anyways, so you'll end up with 24 pretty little tassels, or 20 tassels if you, depending on how many stripes you had, and you'll do that for the whole thing. So thank you for hanging in there with me. I know it's a dark and stormy night here in Portland, so the video quality is not that great. And like I said, I'm not a videographer, so I hope this has been informative. And if you have any questions, reach out to me and I can do my best to help you. I am at House Scotty Knits on Instagram, and Christine Gordon on Ravelry. And yeah, so thank you if you made the pattern. Thank you if you didn't make the pattern and just watching the video, and have a good day. Thank you.